champagne or run, achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne.
Yay! It's Monday. We're here.
Yes.
How you doing, Dr. Paula?
I am doing fantastic, Dr. Annie. How are you today?
Yeah. One day we're going to be blessed and be called doctors. Not really.
Exactly. I love how you just speak all of this into existence. It's so much
That's
fun.
it. That's the
You gotta
idea,
say
right?
it.
That's
Hey,
the idea.
listen, you just never know.
Yeah. Well, no, if you never speak it, then we never, probably never will be, right? Well,
Exactly.
let me
Exactly.
wish, let me hope, let me pray all those things, and then what I wish will come true one day.
Absolutely. Well, the fact that we're here today,
Yeah.
that's a manifestation. So we're going to keep on this track.
Is Don Graham one of your friends? Don Graham Senior.
Yes, he's one of my clients.
Oh, really? Said I would love to attend, but I have a client meeting at 2.
Yeah,
Your time
he's in
zone.
Alabama. He was a client of mine.
Okay, I tell you what I'll do. I'll send you the link. That
Mhm.
way he can watch the replay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
and actually everything that we set up for his financial advisement business, he has accomplished it. And financially, he's exceeded his goals, paid his house off, and everything.
that's the guy that we're looking for, right? That kind of person that we're here to help and support.
Yeah, well, he's off to the races now. He's just doing his thing. And but the thing I love about working with him is that he always was open to learn.
Mm, mm. Yeah. I think many people will tell you they're open to learn, but I think it's easy to underestimate what that really means, right?
Yes, that's true.
I say a friend of mine, now what's her name? It's not Laura. No, it's not. She used to talk a lot about being wowed, living in the world of wow, right? And I think we have to be curious, beyond curious, to see things.
Mhm. That's
I said,
true.
I think the world's full of wonder. I think very for sometimes we say we want to learn, but we're not really we're not excited and curious about stuff.
Yeah, it's the little girl and little boy inside of us. It's the
Mm.
childlike innocence that we have, the curiosity, the playing and figuring out, oh, let me throw it against the wall, see what it looks like. Where will it land? And turning it upside down and all that kind of fun stuff. It's like the water balloons. As kids, we would drop them off and
Yep.
throw them at each other, all that kind of fun stuff. And,
Mm.
if you can't have fun in business, then there's no reason to do it.
See, all the gems are there, right? Now, I say our friends are here. So
Okay.
I'll come to you in a second, my friends. Thank you for being here, and thank you for dropping your comments. Now, please drop some more comments. Of course, you want to come in the studio, you're more than welcome. And I'm faffing around doing other things as I always do. I'm sending Don a message, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So Dr. Paula's live event invite. I think this being our third part of our series, or the third and last part of our series. I'm excited. I think it's been so. I think it's been deep. It's been practical as well, and it's been something that I'm hoping that some of our friends here will be moved enough to want to take the next step, which is to begin to apply learning, right? We need to genuinely take the next steps. We can't just keep learning. We don't talk about being curious. So I think the whole point of curiosity is when you get to apply it. See, I live in this quirky world, Dr. Paula, which is I've always been someone who reads something and thinks, how can I use that? I don't even ask. I just know I'm going to use it.
Hmm.
So today, I looked at my phone, which I rarely do, right? I looked at my phone and I see a Facebook post being mentioned. So of course I go to the Facebook posts and I'm like, wow, this is so inspiring. I made at least three different live event topics out of that post.
Wow,
So
that's
I've,
really good.
I've always been like this, and I can't read something without thinking, without using it somewhere. When I used to do assignments at school, I would literally read something and find a way to merge what I've read with what I'm trying to do. So I think that is a gift, and I think that's a gift that just keeps giving if we learn to be that curious, really curious, and thinking, how can I apply what I learned? But that's where our workshop comes in, right? And our workshop on the 12th.
It does.
Going from plan to profit. Yes. My
Yes, that's the
friends.
one. That's the one that'll be in January. So we're welcoming everybody today for the part three of the Hidden Cost of Hesitation series. And
Yeah.
today we're going to be talking about the reward of commitment and strategy activation.
This is a big part. So let me work with my friends, and then we get going. So,
Okay.
Sean, no, Dr. Lisa, welcome. I see you, another genius in my circles. Sean, how are you doing, my friend? Sorry, I missed your show today. I was doing daddy duties. I had to go and ferry my son forwards and backwards, which is Dr. Paul and I were discussing. It's a norm today, it's for us as parents, right? No one drove me around. Anyway, I'm just saying. It's a bit late now. And I'm 51, so I can't really complain. No one cares, right? Joyce, how you doing? It's been a while. So Joyce is in Uganda, Kenya. I think she's in Uganda. I could be wrong, but I'm glad I haven't seen you for a long time, Joyce. Glad you're here. Hope you're fine. I see you too, amazing Linda in Canada. Thank you for joining us. Of course, like it's a Linda is on a mission. So
Hmm.
it's where 2025 has been. Linda's on a mission to truly, make her visions a reality. I probably met her about a year ago. She had this big vision to get into mental health support.
Oh, that's needed.
There's this thing about using your pain to help others.
Hmm.
So I think that is such a fascinating topic. It's so fascinating. We're going to talk about it in one of my rooms this week, my friends. It's either that or going for greatness. But I think talking about what are you doing with your pain? Really, is it killing you? Or is it helping you? Many have good stories to tell. Of course, I want us to dive into those good stories, and then the rest of us to find a way to bring ourselves to that level, right? Anyway,
Absolutely.
see, I see you're in Kenya, Joyce. Look, I'm getting old, right? I thought it was Kenya or Uganda, but Kenya it is, right? Dr. Paula, please take it away. Now, say I'm happy to talk. So this is one big topic. So, when you start talking, you want to ask me a question, you feel free. My friends, if you want to come in the studio, I'm going to share the link now. So we'd love to have you come and share your thoughts with us, right? If you've got questions as well, don't be shy. Especially you come in the studio and ask your questions. Maybe even share some of the strategies, some of your experiences. Anyway, let me stop talking.
Yeah, I'd love to answer. I'd love to answer any questions or hear how people are navigating the new in their lives and their businesses. So that would be great because the reward of commitment, which is strategy activation, is actually action is the foundational key to all success. So to hear how you're doing that is exciting. So today we're going to kind of recap moving beyond the cost. Our first session was the cost of hesitation, which we realized how much financially it costs all of us. I talked about my possible $20,000 to $25,000 loss, and today, we're looking at the emotional anxiety and self doubt, and then we're also looking at the relational side of it, which is loss of trust and so forth. So the reward side, we're going to be talking about today. We're going to shift our focus to the power of commitment. which is clarity. And clarity gives us what? Allows us to move forward in action, and it dispels confusion. Also, energy. Moving forward releases power, and results turn talking into doing. And we have all experienced in business. Everybody says, "Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and this and that." And you put yourself out, you set up your appointments, you move forward, and they don't really want to do the work. So the action piece is key to anything. So, does anyone have any questions about part two? I know I gave everyone a worksheet. Not sure who did the worksheet or who has it, or if they're here today, but we did do that.
We did. Like, we'll never know, Dr. Paula, whether
No,
they did the worksheet or not.
yes,
But they have seen the worksheet. That's the important thing.
that's exactly right.
Hopefully, it spurred a thought in the in some thoughts in people's minds.
Hmm.
You know, I think there is a lot about the benefits of committing. I think there's it is the foundation, right?
Hmm.
So
Yes.
I've learned from you and from these events that until you commit, we're just talking. We might mean to do it, but until we actually put our flag in the ground, nail our flag to the post, however you want to look at it, right? Put our stake in the ground, you know, nothing's going to move. But once we make that decision, I'm going to do this. I think the world moves, but and literally the world moves. I say now the gods move, everything moves because suddenly it becomes serious, it becomes real. So I guess I talk about two things, Dr. Paula. So
Hmm.
thing number one, which I said this morning, I think a lot of people have this sense of optimism. Look, I love being positive like anyone else, right? But it's not it. I think that misses the point. Now, optimism says I'm going to do. It's going to be easy to do. It's not going to be easy to do.
No.
It's just not. Right. Now, whereas commitment says, whatever it takes, I will do it. So it's not optimism we're looking at. It's more, sometimes I call it delusional faith, like delusional belief that you're gonna, that you truly want this to happen, and you do it. You do what needs doing as long as you have to do it for, as hard as you have to do it for. So that's more a faith thing, like knowing that if I do it, I will succeed, rather than optimism, which says, "Oh, I can do this in 3 months." You can't. You can't. Really, you can't.
And a lot of times people think everything's going to always work out. It's going to this, and it does, but it doesn't work out the way that you originally planned it. The outcome of an opportunity or a process or a system is organically going to change as you move forward in it. One of the things in my Encore framework is the C is for number one, commitment. It's not the commitment that you make, like I'm going to go on a diet or I'm not going to eat cake this week. That's not the commitment we're talking about. As entrepreneurs, we're visionaries. We are diehards. We're going to take the vision all the way to the end, unless we realize that the risk is too high and we need to make an adjustment. But even in making an adjustment, we're still never going to give up on the business. We're just going to adjust how we do it and the process that it may need to be adjusted. But that commitment makes everything clear, and it gives you the clarity to communicate properly. Because when you can communicate properly, then those that are around you it automatically starts to draw that positive energy in a good way of resources and relationships and opportunity that you're looking for. And then the next thing you know, you have authentic connections, because you will not have authentic connections if you're not real with yourself and you're not real with the business and those that you talk to. You have to believe it. You have to be confident in it. And it does take time. Sometimes we just get it on the go. We may be a little nervous. We may be a little, uncomfortable. However, because we're committed, are going to go forward regardless. And then that's when the momentum begins to build.
I agree. I I agree wholeheartedly.
And so,
You see, there's a lot of work we do that no one sees. Again, I'm sure everyone here will recognize the fact that that saying, it's not, it's what you do when no one's looking that really counts. And I say that is it. That's the effort that it takes to do something different, something new, something transformational, something that's truly going to impact people. And
that is,
that's going to take a lot out of us, right?
it is. Just why I have this picture here. Commitment releases energy, while hesitation is a state of friction that consumes mental energy. Commitment is the release of mechanism. So when we're looking at strategy activation, is the moment you stop calculating the risk of failing, or start focusing on the thrill of the leap. It transforms the latent potential into kinetic momentum. Now we're actually doing something. Oh, I made a commitment. I'm going to come to the meeting. Maybe I'll take some notes. No, you will take some notes, because now you're going to actually do something. And you're not just going to be a listener or a hearer. You're actually going to put the work that's needed to align the things and gather the information you need to take your business or your thoughts to the next level, or even to share with someone else that might need it as well. And so when we want to, if we really want an energy shift, we're the first ones that have to shift. We have to move.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. It's we say we have to move in a big way.
Yes.
We have to, this, everything that we want is on the other side of taking massive action.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is so true. I remember when I first started, and even throughout the years, every time I start a new program or a new project, I am a little nervous about it, because I've not done that before, maybe not worked with those people before, but I am confident in who I am and what I have to deliver. And I know I can do the work. And so, since that's the case, that's where the nerves kind of settle down. But then when you sit down at the table with everybody, everybody's in the same place. So let's just make it happen. And that's the joy of being authentic. That's the joy of experience. And I know some may be new in business and may not have that level of experience, but after the first two, three times, you're good to go, because now you're starting to pick up your own rhythm. You're starting to pay attention and see what works for you, how you communicate, what environments you resonate with, and what environments that might not be the best project for you. Every dollar isn't a good dollar. Every client is not your client, and every project is not your project. And that's fine, because that allows you to just focus on your niche market and move in the direction that the momentum is leading you, which is going to help you grow your business and eventually expand.
Again, you're so right. You see, I talk often about and how I love to hit the wall, so to speak, that crisis point.
Hmm.
I don't like succeeding easily, because it means I haven't thought big enough. If I do something, I remember, you and I working on your book, for example, and I'm saying to you, Dr. Paula, pick holes in it, please. Tell me what you really want. Let me learn something today, right? Because otherwise, I don't learn anything. If everything is okay, then that's good enough. No, I don't like. I get bored mentally. Of
Hmm.
course, I'm not saying I don't like to do things correctly. I'm just saying, and I like the chance to get better. You
Yeah.
know,
And
and, yeah, please.
yeah, and one of the things that I like about working together in a team, or even like when we're working on my book, any kind of collaboration where each person at the table gets to use their gifts and their talents and express them in the way that they are good at, that I'm not good at, or all of us aren't good at each other's talents and gifts, that gives everyone to feel valued and worthy and have ownership. But we can't just go along with the whole, yes, this is good, yes, that's good, yes, no, 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 no. We have to allow people to express who they are and to do the work that they were created to do in the way that they were created to do it. And now that elevates everyone. We all learn from each other. It builds the team, it builds momentum, and it allows things to go forward a lot smoother. It doesn't mean that the project's going to go smooth. It just means that as a team, we're going to be cohesive. We're going to communicate and we're going to collaborate the way we need to in order to be able to finish and move forward the things that we're working on.
Mm. Yeah. Again, I'm sure we do need to grow to get.
And you only grow through challenges and adversity.
Mm,
You don't
mm,
grow through easy things. You know, we don't grow through anything that's easy. You don't really grow out of that. You grow through the challenge. You grow
exactly.
through how. And one of the things I think, as far as me as an entrepreneur, the risk in it, that challenge in it is exciting.
Yes.
It's boring. And so what I found when I was working and I was in corporate for about 20 years, um, it got to be boring because there wasn't a challenge mentally that could move me forward to the direction that I wanted to go. And I didn't realize what was happening until, you have that downsize, a couple of times. Then you realize, wait a minute, I don't even need to be in this environment because I don't even really like it. So then, you know,
Exactly what happens, right? Exactly what happens. That's when you
exactly.
and then they stop doing the 9 to 5,
Yeah.
and you thought you're gonna do and retire doing.
That's what we were taught. You go to college, you get married, have kids, go work 30 years, and then you retire. Well,
Mm.
that business model or that model didn't work for my generation because life changes, the world changes, technology, everything changes, all the systems change. And now, if you stay on a job longer than 3 to 5 years, you're doing pretty well. So it just depends on the company. It depends on so many things and the skill sets. um, so we're going to look at three core rewards of not hesitating. One is you have that radical clarity. You cannot steer a parked car, but clarity comes from movement, not just thought. Action reveals the path. And that's where I say you get it on the go. Because a lot of times we don't know till we start moving. And we talk about the momentum of it, like small actions compound. That's where the discipline, being diligent, being focused, being able to communicate, and being committed all work together. And actually doing the work. What a novel concept.
Yeah, they know what.
Yes, the physics of success take over, making next steps easier. Because once you have a foundation laid, then you can build another one and another one and another one. But without one, the whole building is going to fall apart, which we all know what that looks like.
Yeah, I think I say this can be simply, I guess, explained by saying we need to develop mastery,
Yes,
actually get good at something.
yes.
That's
You have,
part of what we're trying to do. You can't run a business if you never get good at anything that involves in achieving your goals, right? A lot of people, I don't know what they think. I guess I have to get stop trying to think what they think. But somehow they expect like the business to be easy.
yeah,
Almost like not respecting those who've gone before them. Or
exactly.
maybe it's not appreciating that we're competing against the world, but no, we're competing against ourselves really. But the rest of the world, no, they got skills. There's people who know what they're doing, who've done this for a long, long time. When you told me you don't talk to anyone who's done less than 20 years in business.
I didn't say I didn't talk to anybody. That's,
That's why I took away. I'm like, no, but
that's
no,
how you heard me say it,
people
but I
you
didn't
work
say
with.
that.
So tell me what you said then. The people you work with, they have to have years in business. They have to have at least they're going towards 20 years to really make a difference, right?
Well, what I was saying was it's 20 years for mastery.
Mm.
You master something after you've done it for about 20 years. So, you know, 10-year mark, excellent. 5 year, 2, 3 year, you're not even sure you're committed. So, if the many people who come out of corporate and go into entrepreneurship, myself included, I was excellent at what I did in corporate. But then going into the entrepreneur world, I had to change everything and I had to learn so many different ways. Number one, the language. how the work ethic is different, and the way that we work and how we interact. All of those things are very, very different. And I had to learn that. I'm sure I wore everybody out, giving all my whole spiel and the whole corporate thing and trying to do all that. I knew I wore them out because I didn't get a call back. But so they were saying, yeah, that we don't want to talk to her. She hasn't been in business longer than 2 years. She don't know nothing. And see what I'm saying? So, if there's different types of relationship. If it's a mentorship, then fine. They expect me not to know anything. But if they're talking about working with me and my company is less than a year old and they've been in business a very, very long time, they don't want to take a risk. They want the work done when they want the work done. And so that's the context in which I was saying. So no, I do certain things that I do, certain projects I work on, certain things that I experience, or I'm looking for people to engage. I want mature people in certain areas. And then there are times when I will take people that aren't, but it's very clear as to what my expectations and the role that they have, and even with mentees, how I choose to mentor someone, if I choose to mentor them, because, we don't want to waste our energy and so forth. So when we're looking at tangible results, the only gap between you and your vision is execution. So that's where a 1 year in business versus a 20 or 30 year in business, there is definitely a gap there, because the 1 year is scared to execute anything because they're still caught up in the head about the perfection. And so they keep going around in circles. But the one that's already done it will go just move forward. So commitment bridges the gap and yields the data. So you'll have better outcomes when you are more focused and you are committed upfront. A lot of times people say you need to communicate first. No, you can't communicate till you know what you're communicating about and what you're really committed to and what you're really confident and believe in and have done, that this will work or that you can move forward in that area and people can trust you. They have to be able to trust you. If you don't trust you, nobody else will trust you. And it comes forth in your conversation.
Of course, it really, it really, really does. I'm thinking so many people were going the other way. You've come from corporate to your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I came from running off for profits to get here.
Mm-hmm.
It's I guess in established companies, there are systems in place already.
Exactly. And all you got to do is follow them. That's why we
Yeah.
get bored. We get bored because we don't have anything to create. I had a boss that said to me, when your name is on the door, then you could do this and that and the other. But right now you're gonna follow these procedures. And I was wondering why I was always having a problem. It wasn't my fault, it was their fault. And so and it was, and you get downsized a couple times, you realize, hold up, this is not the environment I should be in.
Yeah, it shows itself every day. Especially,
Mhm.
well, it shows itself even more when you are taking on, either your own business or even trying to do something different. Trying to grow, trying to get to the next level. That's what I'm looking for, right?
Mhm.
So Joyce, I agree with you. So yeah, you must be good at something. We all must be good at something. Otherwise, what do we think is going to happen? Everyone's going. Yes, there's a saying: if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. I agree with that. But you also have to offer something. You have to bring something to the table, right? Because how are you going to keep evolving, keep learning, keep getting better if you haven't got something that you're good at?
Absolutely.
This is the truth about running a business, right? Any business. So we have to do something. Sam, I see you. Business will never be easy, but that's the fun of it, indeed. That's the excitement, right? And learning new things as you go. Yolanda, how are you doing, my superstar friend? Great to see you as always. LinkedIn user. I'm not sure if it's me, but I don't know who LinkedIn user is, right? I'm a bit stuck.
We can't tell.
Yeah,
So
here's the point I was making just now, Dr. Paul. It's the fact that when we are small businesses like we are now, I don't think many people realize that we're going to have to develop the habits, the systems, even the mannerisms of the big corporates.
That's right.
Some
Absolutely.
people talk, and I watch them talk, and I just think, wow, you're super intelligent. They're not intelligent. They just know they're talking the way their systems work, right? And so,
Hmm.
it just corporate speak.
Absolutely.
My
Because
point,
the proof is in the pudding. Let me see
yeah.
what the output is. Okay. Let me see what the outcomes are. That's the deal right there. Let me see that. Because that takes us to the activation cycle.
Hmm.
Number one in the activation cycle is to decide. And when you make a decision, which is a commitment, you cut off other options and you make the choice final. Okay, we decided we were going to do this series. We were going to do 3 series and end it the week before the holidays started in the United States. And we did it. So that was a decision. We made a choice and that was final. Boom. And so when you when you do that, it's very clear. And the audience responds for those who are interested. Secondly, we're talking about commitment again. Publicly declare your intent to create accountability. Now, this you got to be really careful with because what I realized with myself, I am a creative and I'm an ideator. I can have come up with ideas for all kinds of stuff. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it right then and there. It just means when I'm in that phase or in that focus of creating and ideating, that's all I'm doing. And what happens is people want to run on that trail, not realizing, wait a minute, I'm just talking and coming up with ideas. I'm going to go back to the original focus and stick with the original thing we decided. I'm just having those things. And so we have to be careful how much we say, who we say it to, and how we say it. They have to be trusted because otherwise, our accountability partners or those who are very loyal will burn them out because they don't know which way we're going. Today you said you're going to do this. Tomorrow you said you're going to do that. I thought you were going to do this, but then you're back with that. So we have to be very clear about our goals and objectives. We have to be clear as to who we're talking to and why we're talking to them. And we have to make it clear to them, this is the commitment that I'm going to make to do this in the next 30 days, 60 days, 100 days, whatever it is. And whatever that is, then we can move forward in it. I had a great conversation with Sean. Shout out to Sean. Um, he put me to the charge with this whole CRM issue I've been dealing with, and I made a decision and I pulled the trigger on the CRM product that I needed to use based on what I learned from him. Now, had I not learned those things, I would not have been able to make that decision. So, and now I'm accountable. He's holding me accountable to do it, and I am going to do it. But I'm just saying, see how simple it is.
Hmm.
We don't need to make it larger than life.
I agree. Again, I think I like you make the point. That we have many ideas, and not every idea is meant to be implemented. Which brings us back to our point today, right? You
Hmm.
have to decide which one are you going to do, and then do it. Start doing it there and then.
Yes.
That's what commitment means. It means commit, choose, decide. This is the one. You mentioned this. We might overwhelm people around us with our flighty ideas. There's some people like that, by the way. There's some people that's their genius. They're ideas people.
Hmm.
I remember my last boss. She had ideas every day. In the end, her solution was simply employ people to implement them, and she willing to pay them to do so. So
Yeah.
unless it, and our charity grew from say 5 people to nearly 35 by the time I left. It became a national charity by the time I left from a
Hmm.
small local charity because everyone just she handpicked everyone who worked in the company. Of course, as we grew and grew, then over the years that her personal touch sort of waned because people started putting in more systems, right? But it is realizing that some ideas we have to implement,
Right.
we have to commit to, we have to make happen. Otherwise, our bigger vision is not going to be realized. But I
Absolutely.
mean, it's a very fine line, right? Between what do I leave and what do I really do. I wonder how do we decide? I gave half the answer away, but I'd love to hear your take and in your words, I suppose.
Well, that takes us to 3, which is act within 24 hours. Okay, so if the bigger plan, the long term plan, what I usually do when I work with people, we have a 10-year plan. We back it into the years. Okay, so let's see, wherever we're ultimately going to go in 10 years, or whatever the legacy plan is, that's what it is. So now in this year, what do we need to accomplish to build momentum for the following year? And with that being the case, what actions do we need to take within the next 24 hours for the component that needs to be executed now for that particular goal? And so that's where we are right now. We're actually in the space of within 24 hours, you should be able to execute something. And that thing is supposed to be moving the needle towards the goal that needs to be accomplished for this year or this quarter or this right now problem issue that is on the table. How does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I think that's that works for me for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's So do we write this? I think we need a plan of sorts. Okay,
Absolutely.
many of us live with plans in our heads.
Yeah, and that's not going to work. You know,
Along the way,
the pen is the eye to the heart. So if you write it down, you got to commit to it. And people don't write stuff down so they don't have to make a commitment. You know, I was at an event. This is real wildest thing. It's a crazy story. I was at an event, and the event wasn't well attended. It wasn't going that well, but the lady who was running it blew it up larger than life. So she's standing there and she's reading off. She has this yellow pad, and she's writing. She appears to be writing. And I stood next to her. There was nothing on the paper. She was coming all from out of her head. And so that's why the whole thing was a flop. Because she had planned this thing on the fly. Okay.
mm,
And there wasn't anything on the paper. And she's reading it off and she's doing like, making like, and I'm like, okay, see? I know that's the lowest form of fluff and, and everything
let
I
me
have
laugh,
ever.
please. Let me laugh.
I know, right? That was so funny. I was like, I looked at her like, ooh, and then I felt sorry for her because she
Mm,
believed her own stuff. So it was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
It was all crazy. But
yeah,
that takes us to four, which is rhythm. Okay, she'll
mm,
never have any rhythm because she doesn't write anything down. However, if you really decide, commit, and act, number four, which will be rhythm in your activation cycle, you'll establish daily habits to maintain the strategy that you're pursuing. You automatically wake up, you do your routine in the morning, you automatically seize the day with what you know you have to do. And you knew what you had to do, let's say if it's Monday or Sunday, and then today is Thursday. You knew last Thursday what you were going to need to do this Thursday. And each day throughout the week, you're preparing for that particular opportunity. I knew today was our last session for this particular series, and we're getting ready for January. And my presentation and how I was going to present was already done last Thursday when we did after we finished the last one. Why? Because I knew I needed to prepare and give myself the time just in case, I may change things. You know how things come up at the last minute. You say, I might need to add that in. And so if we operate from that platform of acting within that 24 hours and being prepared for what we know we can control or contribute to or participate in, that makes everything else a lot easier to manage. And that's our rhythm. Everyone has their own rhythm. Everyone has their own song and how they play, or
yeah.
whatever it is. So that's my take on it. Anybody have any questions?
I'm not sure. Have a look. So when you mention rhythm again, I think that there's words that go with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to come back to the once we commit, then these things suddenly become easier. So having the drive, having that, having you said you use the word momentum. I think that having the energy,
Right.
to no, but that the energy comes from knowing what you want to do, being clear what you want to do.
Clarity is gold.
Exactly. And being very clear that you're going to succeed.
Exactly. Clarity is gold and common sense is not common. So,
Mm.
since that's not the case, we have to
Everyone have
be
it, right?
as clear as we can because everyone else may not be clear and may not
Mm.
have the common sense to
Mm.
move in the direction they need to move in. Not
Yeah.
that they're not talented, gifted, and intelligent. It's just everyone has different strengths, and that might not be theirs in the way that they see things. So, since
Yeah.
that's the case, we have to make it very clear that A, B, and C equal D
Mm.
so that they can figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think your point about this, the things we do every day, the little habits,
Exactly.
like go such a long way. So
Yeah.
when I talk about books, for example,
Hmm.
people saying this is why I say what I say today, and people are like, "Hey, you've gone mad." I'm like, I haven't gone mad. The optimistic people, they'll tell you, "I'm going to write a book. I'm going to do it by Sunday." I'm like, "You're not going to write a book by Sunday. You have no chance, right?
No.
Zero." So don't try and talk me into putting you in my diary for Sunday evening. So we're not going to be talking. There'll be no book to talk about. You
And
don't
you
have
are not going on AI and drop in your outline
no.
in AI and come back with a book that's
See,
plagiarized. We're
I
not
said,
doing that.
we're really not. And I said that there's some. I don't know, this lady means well. She, man, I know people mean well. This is not people being, you know, being crazy. But I think we just really think we can just like that. I don't know whether we're daredevils or whether we think we're geniuses. I don't know which one it is, right?
It's unrealistic expectations.
Yes. So that's more like an ostrich, head in the ground, arms in the air, right? That's what we don't want to be.
Exactly.
So I think about, we need to understand what we're trying to do. If it's big enough, it's going to take a lot.
It
So
will.
going back to my book example, I just said to this lady, look, your book's not going to be done by Christmas.
Mm.
I can promise you. If you can prove me wrong. If you prove me wrong, I'll learn a lesson. I would say that when I give advice, that sounds harsh, right? And I don't expect it's going to be done this side, maybe not even by April. But I'm like, ugh,
No,
people, let's be realistic. Let's try to
exactly.
understand, right? But
Especially if they haven't written one before. Like,
yes,
okay, I did a book in 3 weeks, the one you just published. But the
mm,
reason we could do that because the playbook was already created. The only thing we were doing was extracting out what
yeah,
needed to go in the journal. You
indeed,
know,
for the
and
workbook.
then all of the pretty, me and my butterflies that drove you crazy. But
Yeah,
and people like the butterflies. So anyway, you have to buy the book to see it. But
you
so
do. The
the
Encore Reset Journal, my friends. We share the link before we go.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm so proud of it because without working with you, I would not have been able to frame it and position it the way it is. I had the idea, but then the questions that you asked me and how you led me through the process allowed me to really provide a good quality piece of work. But we had something to work with to get started. But if
Mm,
you don't have anything to work with to get started and you haven't done the process and the discipline and waking up 2 o'clock in the morning with ideas, doing research all night, and then putting it out, and then realizing that chapter doesn't go with this chapter, and all of the process of writing a book. No, she may be done by the summer. you know.
yes, yes. That's been that again. That's being ambitious, right? Again,
Yeah,
it's easy to forget the other 6 books you've done, Dr. Paula. I'm saying,
yeah,
this is what we mean by when you've done it before, you know what you're doing within reason.
right.
Even then, every project's different,
Mm-hmm.
I said the time is different too. I mean,
Yes.
so the Encore Research Journal, most beautiful book I've ever done. You have to see the cover, my friends, to understand what I mean. It is generally good. It's a beautiful book, even before you get into it, right? Just for that alone, I would buy the book. I'm
Yeah,
saying,
that's what everybody says. They're like, "Oh, I'm relaxed just looking at the cover." You
yeah,
know, you know. And
it's true. It's
and
true.
it's it really is, and that's what it was meant for, and that's why I have my butterflies,
Mm,
because it's all about that evolution. All of us, we
mm,
evolve from one stage of life to the next, and that's what it's all about. that whole evolution.
Yeah. Again, I think for all of us trying to do something new, something different, get to the next level, as we're
Hmm.
talking about here, I think we have to be brave enough to define our unique way. Like the
Exactly.
butterflies, like that's your thing. I'm saying, of course, I know
Yeah.
the only effort
Yeah.
to be
For the journal.
right now. You wanted to do your journal. You're like, any, I'm gonna have it, whether you like it or not. Just find the right butterflies. I'm like, damn, do we really have to?
And then
Yeah, it's gonna
And then
be.
I said I want a butterfly, different butterfly for each pillar, for each
Yeah,
structure.
each
Have
chapter
a different
essentially.
color. We needed a different color because it has to be pretty. Women have to like it. You know?
Yeah, and when I said I can't give you here's some ideas. She's like, don't like those. Here's the one. That's how we got to the beautiful picture on the cover. Because
Yes.
you brought your own butterflies in the end. I'm saying, my friend, you have to see the book to understand what we're talking about butterflies. It's
Yeah.
but my point still is, we have to be brave enough, maybe smart enough, maybe I don't know what to call it. But we have to be the people who create solutions. This is our time.
Absolutely.
Our time is now.
Exactly.
What we're waiting for. We don't need to wait 10 years to refine our philosophy, our way of
Absolutely.
doing things. I think we all have a way of doing things. It's for us to truly capture what that is. And
And
maybe go on, please.
that's where authority comes in because you have to know your own authority. Now my authority is I'm the author and I want my butterflies because I knew the butterflies was telling the story. Now, and you were helping me get all of that done. And then at the end, we realized the butterflies did tell a story because they were flying through each page showing whatever. But it was a point of contention. It was hilarious at the end. Once we figured it out. And that's what everything is about. As simple as a butterfly or a little graphic on a page, as simple as an instruction or a direction, or maybe making an adjustment in how we move forward. Where, you know, we all have seen rewards in something that we've done. And I'm talking about the book because that's the latest thing that we did, and we published it last weekend. So that was my biggest reward recently, like as of last weekend. The book came out exactly, actually not exactly. It came out better than I think both of us thought, the way it was laid out and how it looked. And it landed really well in the market. People loved it. And they liked it for the holidays, and I did a holiday bundle. So tell me, how many of you, what's the biggest reward in your life when you fully committed to that course of action? What was it like?
Hmm. So we can wait to know. So for me, everything starts. Everything that's good starts with making a decision about what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once I say I'm gonna, once you say to yourself, I'm gonna do it regardless. I'm gonna do it. I don't care whether I fail. I don't care whether it's gonna take me everything. Whether it's gonna cost me £1 million. Of course, we do care. I'm saying, but I don't. It costs time's not the problem. I'm gonna get this done. Come hell or high water, right?
Exactly. That's
You know,
exactly it.
you
You
know,
know,
everything flows. So part of our description, Dr. Paula, is this next step opportunities. There's something open up.
it is.
You suddenly see things that would have been in front of you forever that you just didn't think about. Might help you on your journey in
Mhm.
this project, let alone any project.
Exactly, because now I've got to produce another book for an opportunity that has come, all because I did this one. So, and
Mm,
I didn't know that when I created it. And, literally, I got the call on Thursday. Um, the two books were seen, and they said, well, can you or do you work in this particular genre? I said, yes, I do. I have a lot of material in that. Well, we would like such and such and such. So now I've got to get to work. And so, but I don't mind doing it. It's a challenge. It's going to really challenge me to level up in a way that I haven't before. However, I'm excited about it because one step leads to the next, to the next, to the next. And when we all think about times where we move from hesitation to strategy activation, and it's the greatest feeling of accomplishment. It's like a little kid, like when my daughter first started walking. She was crawling, and then all of a sudden she could stand up. She was wobbling, she fell, and then the next time she stood up and started walking, she was happy, and she's running around because she accomplished something as a little child. And as adults, that's how it is in our life. We just accomplish bigger things, we end up doing more things, and we continue to do more things. And so, I'd love to hear how many, what are the accomplishments when you stepped out and just did what you were committed to?
Mm. It's a good question.
I am
So
sure if I don't hear from you, I will call on you because you're sitting there. So, you know what?
they're
Since
still there.
Samuel said, business will never be easy, but that's the
Mm.
fun of it. So, Samuel, tell me about a fun experience where you didn't hesitate and you went forward. He might not be online.
Ah,
Or,
there's lots of people here.
uh-huh.
Yeah. So and
Okay. Well,
I,
if Samuel's not answering, I know Sean is here.
yeah. You share with us. Why don't you share with us, Dr. Paula?
Well, I just did. I talked about the book. You want something else?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah. No, I imagine every day you see the rewards of you committing, right?
Okay. So, something that I do every day. Okay, well, since I relaunched my business, this social media and technology has been a challenge. It really wasn't a challenge in that it was hard. I was just making more of it in my mind than it really was because I didn't want to do it. And I know that I have to learn certain processes before I turn it over to somebody else. So once I let go of the resistance and said I'm going to do it, I was off to the races and now no longer fearful, no longer on schedule, on target as far as everything that we had planned from second quarter out. So that is a big activation for me personally and for everybody I'm working with.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
for
think
you
I think we'll go through this mountain every day, right? We'll know. So a lot of many people will think we just wake up and just do stuff. Yeah, we just wake up and just do stuff. Any
too.
just wakes up and any just does books. You don't say what no one knows. Let me welcome Abraham first. Abraham, welcome, my friend. So if the question got your attention and got you thinking, my friend, we'd love to hear your thoughts. The biggest rewards that you've seen after you committed to implementing something big, something important, right? Again, before I start a book, I do what everyone else does. I prevaricate. I procrastinate. I sit there thinking, yeah, I'll get it done quickly. I'm not going to get it done quickly. But maybe it's fear, but I just literally, I don't start the work until, I go around the houses with my thoughts, right?
Mhm.
But the day must come when I have to start, when I have to say, okay, I'm going to get this done. You know, and
Exactly.
and I have to physically say that at a moment in time.
Hmm.
I have to get this book done by, so I will begin, right? And then everything flows.
It really does. It's like, with the YouTube, it's something that I'm committed to doing, and I'm getting better at it. I have to do it more often. But once I started doing it and learning how it worked, then it's getting easier.
Mm,
So
mm,
now I'm getting ideas on how to make it better, how to
mm,
enhance it, and all the other things that have to go with it. And I'm going to take one day at a time and take one step at a time and build it out.
mm.
And by this time next year, you'll be surprised at what I come up with. So will I. So
I like that. So
I'll
so
have
will-
a,
so will- so will YouTube, I imagine.
yes,
You'll be
yeah,
surprised.
YouTube's gonna be like, wow. So it's gonna, and you know what? That's the fun, Eddie Samuel. That's the fun of it all.
Yeah, yeah. Because see, we can create genius.
Hmm.
But I guess that's about our point in that is that everything's going to take having a strategy in place. And after you make that commitment, after you make that choice, you have to have
Hmm.
a plan. You must have a plan. So a lot of people trying to wing. Many of us try to just wing it. Again, not just books. When I talk to my friends about speaking at my events, not this no, my stages, not these live events. I tell them I want you to go through the process that speakers go through.
Absolutely.
Yes, on a good day, you can turn up and just talk for 20 minutes. Who knows what you're gonna say? Whereas if you write, if you have at least have a rough outline at the very least,
Hmm.
because eventually you're gonna have to fill in the gaps of that rough outline anyway to make sure you don't say, we can all waffle for ages, right? So the best speakers, they say the same thing over and over and over because they've written it down, they've practiced it, they've done it. As you say, with time, it becomes easy. It
It
becomes
really does, because
right.
you're more of yourself than you
Yes.
are of the work. I was
Mm.
speaking, this is a while ago, and someone asked me to fill in and so forth. So I did, and the person said, "Oh, you really wrote the book, didn't you?" I said, "Of course I did." I said, "Of course I did." And then I said, "Well, what made you say that?" Because everything that was in there, that's what you said. I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yeah, I read it." I'm like, "Oh, so what?" Well, a lot of people we get to come in and do these things, they don't really, you know, they're different than their material. I was like, "Oh, okay, I hear what you're saying." She said, "But you really know this, and you really like doing this. You're passionate about it, and so forth and so on." I was like, "Yeah, that's why I wrote it. This is why I have the program I have. This is why I do what I do." And she said, "Well, we'd like to have you come back." I said, "I'd love to come back." I said, "This was a kind of an odd conversation in the way that you were saying what you were saying, but I do understand what you mean." In other words, we've had so many phonies. We're like, you know. And it turned out that I got a contract with them for about a year, and I created a program for them, and I trained their people to be able. I did a trainer program for them as well. And so, but what was so joyful about it was that they loved the authenticity, because not just us as the entrepreneur or the business owner, but the clients and the people that meet us, they want the real deal. They don't want a canned speech. They don't want someone that, like you said, says the same thing over and over, but they have no substance. Now, those that do say the same thing over and over, many of them do have substance, but then there are some that may not. And so evidently they had run into some that haven't. And so, it's just interesting. The more we own it for ourselves, the better the experience of the people that we engage with. What did Eric say this morning? He said, service to others leads to greatness.
Service to more. It's something like service to more, leads to greatness, right? Service
Yeah,
to
service to many leads to
yeah,
greatness.
that's the one.
Yeah,
Service to more leads to
service
greatness.
to many leads to
It's
greatness.
true.
And
It's
that's
true.
what it is.
It's a good way to be. Look, now, now you have a point in I think of course authenticity is one of the words that we use too often. You know,
Yes,
it sounds almost glib these days, but it does mean something.
it does.
I think it's what combines everything we talked about today. I think you know
Absolutely.
mastery, commitment, passion for and just having your own unique take on the world, having your own solution that you
Yeah,
that you, that you want to bring to the world your way.
this is it.
This all counts, right?
It really does, because actually, we're all here to solve problems. So,
Mm,
whatever problem you solve, I welcome that. And
mm,
whatever problem I solve, I gladly give it to you. So, and we're going to be solving a big problem for everybody in January, from
yeah,
from plan to profit. That means you
yeah,
have to come to the table with some kind of plan. even if it's an outline or maybe 5 points or 3 points or something. And we're going to walk you through the process to create that plan into a profitable execution. And so I'm
Yeah,
really excited about what we're going to be doing in January. You want to share that with them?
yeah, for sure. And I think, Mike, I'm with you. What separates successful people is action, goals, and persistence, which all
Yeah.
starts with a commitment, right? Commitment and a plan. Look, say our workshop in say on January 12th. We say enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your New Year, come back refreshed, ready to go. That's the idea, right?
Yes.
And let's not make 2026 the same as 2025. Even though so many of us have had good 2025, so let's take it to the next level. Let's go from talking to action, using Mike's words. Let's go from plan to delivery, to implementation, to serving people, to make serious money. That's what the workshop's for. So and I guess of course, look, I know how these events work. Well, and I'm sure you get the idea. We can talk all day, right? But you're not gonna have the goodies. The goodies from this event is called a strategy, a plan, your plan. That's what Dr. Paula and I have been working towards, right? We told you why you need a plan. We told you the cost when you don't have a plan. We told you why people don't have plans. Today we told you that the first step in creating a plan, commit. Now, say in the workshop, we want you to leave with your plan that you guys are going to implement. That when you leave, by the time you finish our 3-hour workshop, you will know what you're going to do next, who you're going to talk to next, who you're going to talk to tomorrow. Now, that's what we want to leave you with. That way, you don't say, I don't know what to do. Oh, I got distracted. No, you have a plan. Focus on the plan, deliver the plan, right? If we talk all day, you're not going to learn how to make the plan. I'm not saying it's that hard. It's just knowing what to add to it, right? Now, your strategy is multifaceted. There's many different parts to your strategy. And so Dr. Paula will cover all the different parts that you need to think about. So the one that excites me the most is the next step opportunities. I say again, it's like a trick. It's there right in front of you.
And you know what? I'm excited. One of the things that I am a master at creating frameworks out of people's ideas. So if you're in that workshop and you have an idea and you don't have a framework for the idea, and you come to the workshop and you get a framework that gives you strategy and gives you execution and implementation tools and all kinds of things that you're going to need, then it was worth you being there. Because the bottom line is the most difficult thing is to be able to package everything and put it together and outline it so it can be implemented. So you can have a pilot to test it to see if the market likes it. And then you can execute it and then reevaluate it and get feedback and move forward. So if the whole class is there, we're all supporting one another with their individual plans and presentations, then you get to participate in that as well. And that's the thing that excites me. I love to see people have the aha moment and realize just small little adjustments or incremental adjustments make yield huge results. So I'm excited about that.
There's that big Christmas things for us to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, keep cooking your idea. That's what I say, right?
That's right. Keep cooking your idea. And remember, the cost of hesitation is high, but the reward of commitment is limitless. So we're going to see you all in January. How about that?
Yes. That is so true, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's everything we want is on the other side of commitment. It really is. So the moments that we truly choose and truly decide that we're going to go for it, not go for it, go for it all in. Really go for it. They say literally, never say no to yourself again.
Absolutely, because you offend your own conscience.
Truly.
So how dare you offend your own conscience by one, lying to yourself and saying no. Just say, fess up, tell the truth. It is what it is.
Mm,
Okay, and this if nobody does it and you don't do it, it's not going to get done. But guess what? Somebody will do the
mm,
idea you had and
yeah,
become successful, and then you'll be jealous because,
mm,
oh, I had that idea first. Yeah, well, you sat on it. Okay, so there we go. And there's so many inventions and so many books and so many things that people unfortunately went to the graveyard with. But then there are so many people around that are just every day the light bulb was going off. The light bulb was going off. So what light bulb do you have?
mm, mm. Yeah, again, there's so many people to help you on the journey.
Exactly.
As I say, we're for whatever reason we're good at looking gift horses in the mouth. Again, it's a lesson I'm learning myself, right? There's
Hmm.
a reason why someone's in front of you at any one time. So I try not to miss the ones that are there to help me.
That's right. And like we said, we do not want to wear out people who are loyal. We do
Mm,
not want to exhaust our accountability partners. We want everyone to be able to use their gifts and talents the way that they're supposed to so that the whole collective can move forward.
yeah, for sure. Look, my friends, Dr. Paula, I say thank you.
You're welcome.
Back in 2026, it is a year for greatness. I mean, so the fact that I say we've got this workshop, so that's a big step in my plan to support my friends to truly be who they're gifted to be. The Author Speakers event on the 4th of February. Again, that's another big thing of my show. I've been talking about this for a year, so to actually get it done, this is the point, I suppose, what we do, right? That's what every night is about. You think it, you see it, make it happen. make it happen, right? Go do it.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. You
There's nothing.
know,
There's nothing will come. I mean, your big plan for your leadership project, for example. I'm saying, yeah, I'm just thinking, a few years ago, we would have been like, oh, let me think about it a bit. But now we're like, no, we're gonna do it. We're gonna start it. We're gonna get it done and get everyone to actually benefit from it.
absolutely. And I'm
Mhm.
excited to see what it's going to look like when I finish it because,
Mm,
I've had iterations of it over the years, but I wasn't the person then that I am now. And the vision I have now is far superior and more mature than what it
mm.
was years ago. So this is really going to be something to see how I pull this thing off with God's help. 'Cause it's really going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun ride. But
And
anyway,
and it's gonna be involved. I wonder if you're gonna be involved, my friends. Of course, we need to talk. We need to, I guess, build a relationship. That way, we can see who does what, right?
hmm
Again, you never know. I say, Abraham, I think your point's a good way to leave it. You know, so the reward for commitment is limitless. I experienced that this year. Yay. 2026 is here. Let's get even better. Let's experience even more of it, my friend. Let's experience even more. So let's talk. So I'm going to DM everyone the link for the workshop.
and the
So
book.
and the book as well. The
hmm
journal or the bundle.
It with all of it.
So the bundle. Okay, the one
hmm
for your website.
hmm
And I want to ask about Amazon or whether we resolve that issue with Amazon yet. How crazy is that, Dr. Paula?
Yeah. And
We leave that
I
alone for
know that was the craziest thing. Amazon was wild. But if you want to buy the printed copies, they are on Amazon and you can purchase them.
yeah. Mine's coming. I can wave it and show you how beautiful this book really is. But thank you so much, Dr. Paula. It's been amazing as always. So I've got a room tomorrow, but I'll publicize that to your views. But you take care. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy
Thank you,
Christmas.
everybody. Thank you, Annie, for having me. It's such a pleasure. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye, everyone.
She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with the without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.